the risks of buying or selling, the risks of buying before you sell. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it. In this crazy market, there's some good times to do it and some bad times to do it.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Bergio, Mark Novak, episode 462. We are on the road this morning in Gold Coast for a real estate conference, but we will always bring you the show. And this morning, we're going to be talking about the risks of selling before buying, especially in this market, and some things to watch out for. In particular, the market we're in now, just for a reference, when people are watching this many years in the future, it is a booming market where this past 12 months, we've had in some suburbs 30 to 40% growth, and even in the last couple of months. So that's big growth per month. And it's always a strong question, should I buy before I sell or vice versa? And Mark, in a very stable market where there's not much movement, like a typical year, you may only have 5% growth in the year. So if you're looking at 0.5% per month, which is really only a $5 or on say a $2 million purchase, it's only a $10,000 swing. But at the moment, we're seeing swings of $500,000. So that can really, it can be massive, because if you sell, let's say you're looking to upsize and you sell your home for $2 million, and then it takes you 3 months to buy, and now the home you sold is worth 2.5 and the upsize is worth 3 million and you can't afford it, you're in a very, very bad place. So let's talk about that, Mark, and that's where we're steering it to, because some people are getting caught out.
Yeah, look, it's there's not many times in our career where we would say the opposite, to definitely buy first. Most of the times we're always saying, look, just so you know what's in your pocket, what sort of change that you've got. Take time, sell for the highest possible price, and take time and buy for the lowest possible price. But the trick here is to take time. That's where the magic is. That's what we've been, myself, my whole career, I've been telling people, but probably for the first time, it's been such an explosive market that I've reevaluated that and said, you know what, you're probably going to screw yourself and leave a hell of a lot of money on the table if you don't do that. So when we looked at that property market, the rate of growth we were having in such a short time in our property market, the first quarter of this year, I think it just would have been so wise at that time. What do you reckon now, though? Do you reckon the market's sort of still as aggressive as it was that first quarter, where you should still be making that decision to buy first or sell first?
It's definitely not as aggressive, but some properties still have that in them. So in the first quarter of this year, nearly every property that went for auction was going $500,000 above the reserve, where the market conditions are still there to do that on properties, but it may be only doing it on half the properties. So because our old advice would be, sell first, know what you've got in your pocket so you can negotiate cashed up with a seller, and you're in a great position. You can do short settlements. I would still definitely recommend buy, because the property you may like may go bananas at auction. Like, the foundation is still there. Is it doing it for every auction? No. Are we getting 50 people through the first open home? No, we're getting 30, but you're still getting a lot of people. So I think it would be a better idea to buy and then sell. Go through it that way.
But traditionally, I've always talked about, when I've always spoken to buyers, I've always said you're much more of bit of a smart ass or relaxed, or when you
Better.
really don't care about selling, you're not sort of on the edge of your chair, and you're much cooler at in a negotiation. And it's a bit like that when buying, when you're sort of like, you know what, if I don't buy this, that's cool. Something else will come up, and you just take your time. There is a beauty in taking time to do your sell, not being rushed, not having a 6 week settlement to meet or a 16-week settlement to meet. There's a beauty in that. But I just don't think you can afford that beauty, given how fast that property market's moving, because you could just leave so much money on the table. So you're almost double dipping, because what you're buying is going up and what you're selling is going up within that very short period.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can, so I think the key things would be to buy first, but try and get a longer settlement for that, because you may only have the 10% deposit, but you do need to be sold and settled to finance that purchase. But keep in mind the selling market to get a great price, it's still like a week on the market, 4 weeks on the market. So not many properties are lasting much longer than that time period. So even if you had to buy on a 6-week settlement, what I would do, I would have your property ready to go to market, photos, everything ready, contract in. You may even have your agent, well, you have your agent picked. He may even be shown by through at the time, but I would buy then the same day you go live online. I think people, and you could still quite comfortably make a 6-week settlement, or you buy on an 8-week settlement and you sell on a 6 weeks or 4-week settlement. But I think the key thing is have your photos done, have the videography done, have your agent selection done. You don't want to buy a property and then spend 3 weeks picking your agent or doing final touches around your house. That's got to be ready to go.
Yeah, and also I think a scary thing for buyers out there is that you don't know what your place is worth. So you may have your finance organised, you may not have sold, and you're like, you know what, I just don't know whether I'm a 700 or a 770, and that makes all the difference in my purchasing. I call that price discovery process, and an agent won't mind running that price discovery process for you. So a price discovery process is agent talking, bringing through real buyers from their database, making real offers on your property, real time. Now, the agent will do that instead of doing an auction, getting into a full-on auction campaign, because they know they're going to be, selling the property, whether it's going to be for you now or whether it's going to be during your auction, that they're cool with it. So some again, traditionally we're starting to call that now that pre-market period, but I don't mind running price discovery for a client that wants to sell, even if they're not ready to sign on the dotted line, bringing through real buyers, because sometimes that buyer just makes that super compelling offer, and then it goes, screw it, I'm just going to sell it and I'll buy later anyway, because it's just such a huge offer. But do you remember that magic I mentioned before about not needing to sell? You got that magic happening because you're like, whatever.
And I think you made a really good point there, that your property, get the opinion of the agent as well, because sometimes you may think, let's say you've got an unrenovated home, you may think it sells for 1.5, it sells for 2 million, and you were looking at properties for 3. And if you knew you were getting 2.5, you could have bought a property for 3.5, 4. So by doing this, you do miss out on that potential a bit. But I come back to the reason why you're buying first is because what's worse, buying, still upgrading a property, but not getting, you could have gone a little bit more, but having extra cash in your pocket, or selling your property first for 1.5, it doesn't go the extra 500,000, and the upside, and you take too long to buy, and you can't even buy what you just sold. I think that scenario is far worse than having extra cash left over for it, because then you could go buy an investment property. So I still think it should be considered, but you're right. We've always said sell first. So it may not seem like a big shift, this conversation, but it is. So I think if you are in that position, and if you're another agent as well, you may need to fine tune some of your advice for your clients as well, because I couldn't imagine anything worse than a client asks you, should I sell first or buy? You say sell because you want the sale. And the client may not be a quick acting client. Like, they may need to see 10 properties before they buy. 3 months pass and they can't even buy what they sold. It would be heartbreaking.
And you know what else, guys, you got to think out there, everyone out there, you got to think about this. I just sold an acreage in our area, and the person came from a waterfront, beachfront position. Two very, very rare items. I think if you put yourself in someone like that's shoes, the odds of them finding an acreage property that they're going to like may take 6 months or may take 9 months. Like, it may just not come on for a very, very long time, and you're sold. Now, the stakes are high here, because if I think that property ended up selling for $8.5 million, $9 million. So in a moving market where it can move 10% over a 6-month period, or 15% over a 6-month period, they could have left $1.5 million on the table. So I think they did the right thing buying an acreage when it came up, because they are bloody rare, and they asked for a 20-week settlement or a 16-week settlement, and then they knew they had 4 weeks to sell their property in an auction scenario and 10 or 12 weeks left to settle. So they actually, they actually organised I think they may have organised a reducible settlement where you can ask the owner to settle earlier because they're ready to settle earlier. But that is an ideal situation because it's just so bloody rare, and that feeling of that scaredness of not having anywhere to live, being out of your home, they didn't do that, and also just pricing as well.
Not only do you lose the growth on your, let's say you sold and it took you 6 months or 9 months to find a property, you lost 9 months growth, but you also rented for 9 months because you've sold and you haven't bought. So I think especially if you're buying a property that you know is unique, then yeah, definitely more so in any market, wait till you find it, then buy, and then you sell. But if you're doing a traditional 4-bedroom home into a 5-bedroom and there's quite a lot of turnover, then it can be a little bit different.
Absolutely.
But
now, I just want to say g'day to Tate Brownlee this morning. Apparently, the legends of real estate. Thank you, legend. Luke Morini reckons we look relaxed.
Yeah, we are. It's good
because our morning didn't start with electric shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Normal, and it only started about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
20 minutes ago when we got up. But look, normally we're in Queensland at the moment, guys, and a couple of you may know. I think Luke's en route. I think Tate's en route, biggest real estate conference in Australia. And Lisa Novak says so many people have been buying first. They're worried they won't find anything to buy. Guys, it's a true motion. Buying, and it's probably one of the only times ever I've recommended to buy first. But don't be selling on your selling price. So that price discovery process, I think, give it to your agent even before you want to actually formally sell. Let them bring through some real buyers. Let them bring through some real offers. See if that's enough to compel you to do a deal, or if that's enough just to educate you on okay, great, now I know that's the price. Let's go out and buy.
Perfect. All righty. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day. We'll send you some live stuff tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday on the biggest real estate conference in Australia.
It's back. Yeah, we missed out last year. Cheers.
Yeah. See ya.